Hey everybody, today we're gonna talk about a topic that's a little bit hard for a lot of people to talk about. Money. More specifically, how I managed to save $100,000, get a 4-year degree completely debt-free at 22 years old while I was making $10 an hour. Now before we get started, I just want to clarify one thing here. I'm not making this video to brag in any way, shape, or form. I just want to show you guys what's possible. I have been very, very blessed to be in the situation that I'm in, and not everybody is gonna be able to be in this situation. What I'm trying to show here is there's a way to better the financial situation that everybody's in. Do you have to save $100,000? No, but could you be debt-free? Yeah, I think we're ready. And these flies are bad. Woo. So hello everybody, my name is
the Cornstar.
And as you can probably tell from the tractor behind me, I am a farmer, but I also dig graves for 18 cemeteries, and I'm a YouTuber. I guess you could say I'm a little frugal. So how in the world did I manage to save $100,000, get a 4-year finance degree completely debt-free, do this all by the age of 22, making only $10 an hour? Well, that's why I'm making this video. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, but we're gonna start with my expenses because I don't care how much money you make. If you spend more than you make, it's kind of hard to save it. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. As a kid, my parents bought me everything. Now they're very selective about what they let me buy, but if I needed something, they bought it for me. But my whole mindset around money really changed my senior year of high school when I took a math class called Consumer Math. When I started the class, my teacher sent in a request for a grant to get Dave Ramsey's program for high school kids for free, and we got accepted for the grant. So for an hour a day, for an entire semester, I had Dave Ramsey teaching me about money. So this is where I learned how to track where all of my money was going. AKA, this is where I learned how to budget. And through the Dave Ramsey program, I learned about a beautiful thing called compound interest in investing. So since when I was in high school, I really didn't have a whole lot of financial responsibilities between working on the farm and doing miscellaneous jobs for different neighbors. By the time I graduated high school, I had $20,000 saved in my bank account. Now I know $20,000 is a lot of money, but I'd saved that money from the time I was 10 till I was 18. So over the course of 8 years, it's $2,500 a year, $208 a month, or about $7 a day. Very possible. Okay, I just graduated high school. I have $20,000 sitting in my bank account. Now what? I went to college. So let me backtrack about a year real quick. Towards the end of high school, I knew college was coming up and I knew college was expensive, so I took advantage of my high school's dual credit program, meaning I only had to pay $30 for a textbook rental to take a college class, so I loaded up on as many as I could. By the way, if you're in high school, take advantage of your dual credit if you have it available to you. And then I started filling out scholarships. I ended up applying for 48 scholarships. And I received 6 of them, totaling just over $20,000. Now believe me when I say I wasn't a super high test score. I scored a 23 on my ACT, but I did have over 600 hours of community service, so I think that's what made the difference. So let's do a little recap here. I just graduated from high school. I have $20,000 in my savings account. I have a year of college completed, and I have $20,000 in scholarship opportunity just waiting for me. Now the rest of the good stuff. One of my scholarships was a full ride to my local community college, so I ended up going there for a year and I got my AA degree. While I was at my community college, I only had class every other day, so when I didn't have class, I was here working on the farm. And on days that I did have class, I worked nights at a funeral home. I was actually able to manage an 80-hour work week while I was taking 21 and 18 credit semesters. So from a financial perspective, community college was pretty easy for me. My grandparents lived in the town that the college was in, so I lived in their basement for free. Grandma cooked all my meals, and if I didn't eat with her, I had friends at the college who had unlimited meal passes, so they would just kind of sneak me some food, and I also had full tuition scholarship. And this is also when I started dipping my toes into the stock market, and I ended up maxing out my Roth IRA, buying into an S&P 500 index fund. And this is also when I bought my 1996 Geo Prism. This old girl gets 32 miles to the gallon. Best part? I bought it for $300. She may be 20-something years old, but she gets me from A to B. So with all of my AA degree classes, I was able to transfer those into a university, so that's where I went for the next 2 years. While I was at university studying finance, I was able to find a duplex where rent and utilities combined were only $285 a month. And since I refused to buy a parking pass, I would ride my longboard to class every day, and if it was snowing or raining, I would either walk or I'd just bum a ride off somebody. So I need to be honest with you guys here. My parents' graduation gift to me was that they would pay up to $300 per month on my rent. Since my rent was less than $300 per month, I didn't have to pay anything. When it comes to my grocery bill, this part's actually pretty cool. Just make sure you're sitting down, because I would spend $200 a semester on groceries. I'm not kidding. Rice and beans were my best friends. Oh yeah, hot sauce is my friend too. While I was at university, I was still coming home to work on the days that I didn't have class, as well as every weekend. But then senior year hit and I had class every day. So at the beginning of my senior year of college, I started this YouTube channel, and I also started an online advertising company. I would literally spend every minute of my free time working on those two things. Like, I would have class from 8 in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 1 o'clock in the morning, I'd be working on YouTube stuff, I'd be working on advertising stuff. And I should probably mention, I never bought any books or anything while I was in school, because the neighbor right beside me had one. Watch this. Hey man, can I take a picture of the reading for tomorrow? It's that easy. During the entire time I was in school, I don't even know if I went out 5 times, like going out to eat and all. And when it came to clothes and stuff, honestly, I wore all the stuff that I had while I was in high school, because it still fit me and it was nice stuff. So now by the time I've graduated from college, I had $45,000 in my bank account. Cool. There's $55,000 that's not accounted for in there. Hold on, we'll get to that. So this brings us to today. So now that I have my other forms of income, the farm no longer pays me, but I do get a free place to live, and that comes with free utilities. Free. Now this is where it gets really complicated. Let me take a second to explain how we do things here on our farm. Remember earlier in the video when I said there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat? I'm not saying the way we run our business is the right way or the wrong way, it's just how we do it. So when it comes to how we run the farm, we do everything together. So if I buy a tractor, it's everybody's tractor. If Dad buys a farm, it's everybody's farm. We figure we can grow as a farm a lot faster if we do it as a big team instead of doing it as individuals. Now this is where stuff starts to sound a little crazy. Since my dad, my brother, and I all have very unique skill sets when it comes to the farm, it makes distinguishing pay extremely difficult. So we just don't deal with that. We don't take any pay from the farm. So all the money that the farm makes stays within the farm. But keep in mind here, all things like utilities, phone, internet, that all is funneled through the farm. So technically it's free to us, but the farm's still paying it because those things are needed in order to operate the farm. Man, this stuff's hard to describe. I told you guys it was weird, but that's how we do it. And if I want something on my own, separate from everybody else, I have to find a side source of income so that I can afford it on my own. And this makes things on the farm very clear-cut. And then we have no arguments over money, and there's no greed involved, because we just know if it's from the farm, it's staying within the farm. If we go out and make it on our own, it's fair game. Please keep in mind, that's our main rule for the farm, but sometimes we do veer from it a little bit. It just kind of depends on the situation and the circumstance. A good example of an exception to the rule is while I was in college, I was working 80 hours a week, so that's 4,000 hours a year. Take that over 4 years, that's 16,000 hours. 16,000 hours at $10 an hour is 160 grand. Now I know there's taxes and stuff in there, doesn't matter. To be quite frank, our farm didn't have enough money to pay me, so I just took enough money to max out my Roth IRA. And that would usually come out anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 a year. But Cole, why would you turn down $40,000 a year to only take $5,000 a year? Since I'm an owner of the farm, that's one of the sacrifices I have to make, and hopefully down the road here, I'll be able to reap a lot of benefits off these hours that I've been putting in. It's an investment. So over the past year, between my YouTube channel, my advertising company, and odd jobs I've done for neighbors, I worked 5,200 hours and I made $63,000. So you may be thinking, hey Cole, $63,000, 5,200 hours, that's more than $10 an hour, isn't it? Well, simmer down just a second, because last year I put over 1,000 hours into my YouTube channel and to my advertising company before I made a dime. So I'm adding those hours into this here. Now I'll be the first one to admit it, I'm not a mathematician, but that comes out to pretty stinking close to $10 an hour. When it comes to my stock market investing strategy, I have pretty basic guidelines. I take my Roth IRA and I max it out every year, and I put all that money into an S&P 500 index fund. Since I've been maximizing my Roth IRA contributions since I was 18 years old, and I've also been stashing some other money away, in my investment portfolio I have $37,352.12. And then in my bank account I have $76,823.32. But cool! That's over $100,000! I know. I like to have $10,000 sitting in my bank account at all times. That way, if an emergency comes up, I know I can take care of it, unless it's like a really, really expensive emergency. And I'm also not accounting for every single dollar I've ever made in my entire life and every single dollar I've ever spent, because I would be sitting here for a very long time and this video would take me forever and a half to make. But you guys have the full gist of what's going on. So Cole, why? What are you gonna do with all the money? Everything sitting in my investment portfolio is for retirement. Since it's sitting in a Roth IRA, I can't touch it without penalties until I'm 59 and a half years old anyhow, so I don't really consider that to be money I can use. And then when it comes to the money that's sitting in my bank account, remember we talked about an emergency fund? Well, it's also kind of an emergency fund for the farms. Right now, prices of crops are really low, and we don't really know what's gonna happen, so I have some money sitting in there in case the farm needs to pull from some of that. And then lastly, I'm saving up because I wanna build a new bend site. I'm sure there's gonna be quite a few people watching this video who know absolutely nothing about farming, but basically, when it comes to storing grain, if we can store it for a period of time, we can capture a premium in the market, so then we get paid more for our grain. Grain bins can be incredibly expensive, but if we utilize them correctly, we can expect to see returns of over 20%. So you know where my money's going. Nothing against the stock market, but I feel I have a lot more opportunity investing within our business. So I'm just gonna stick to maxing out my Roth IRA, and then the rest of the money's going into the farm. So the last thing that I wanna touch up on is, I'm sure there's gonna be a few people thinking, well, Cole, you wouldn't have gotten to the position that you are today had it not been for your family just giving you everything. Well, I won't disagree with that. Let's look at some numbers. Let's just say that I had to pay for my own phone, gas, food, rent, and tuition. And we'll toss a couple miscellaneous expenses in there. That would bring my expenses to $1,600 a month. Now let's take our 80-hour work weeks at $10 an hour. That's $800 a week. There's 4 weeks in a month. That's $3,200 a month. We're just gonna say 30% of that is taken for taxes. That would leave me with a net paycheck of $2,240 a month. So if we take my monthly income minus my monthly expenses, that leaves me with $640 a month. Over the course of 4 years, that's $30,720. And then if we take the last year where I made $63,000, subtract out the same expenses, that would leave me with $43,800. And if we add those two together, I would have $74,520. So yes, my family did help me significantly, but at the same time, I would still be doing really well if I was on my own. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how I managed to save $100,000 and go to school, get a 4-year degree, completely debt-free by the age of 22. Now please remember, I did not make this video to try to glow in any way, shape, or form. I just want to show you guys what's possible. You don't have to be in the same situation that I'm in. There's a lot of people who make a lot more money than me, and I know there's people who make less money than me. We don't all have cookie cutter situations. Just remember guys, just because we're in a position now, it doesn't mean that we're stuck there forever. Nobody ever fails until they give up. Now I know this video is different from videos that I normally make, but if you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. The best thing you can do to help support the channel is to hit the thumbs up button. If you guys have any other videos kind of similar to this that you would like to see me make, please write it down in the comments. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.